Good afternoon, everyone. This is Edward Goski from Twitter and StockTwits with an afternoon review of the markets. So let's take a look quickly here at the marijuana stocks, which are finally starting to show some signs of life after the huge top in January. So right now, the best looking chart on a short-term basis, in my point of view, is Leaf. So what Leaf's done here is formed a bullish bottom reversal pattern. And what I was looking for was the right shoulder. The head was already setting up. You had a nice explosion here, which looks like a very impulsive wave here in Elliott wave terms. And then the pullback here, I was hoping to see a right shoulder forming, which is what happened. And I originally last week had a neckline right over here above the 2019 level, and it did break out. And the pullback here to 1969 has been able to form an even nicer right shoulder, and it broke out today on nice volume, up over 5%, and it broke above this neckline of the 2108 level is what I was looking for. So this looks very encouraging. It's definitely very bullish from a short-term perspective on the daily chart, and you can move your stop up. Originally, I had a stop at 1863. I have a stop at 1968 now. So we'll see how far this thing can go. But after today's move in a lot of the marijuana stocks, it's definitely encouraging. So this is definitely my favorite marijuana stock on a short-term basis. From a longer-term perspective, I posted a chart of weed today, which is definitely from a long-term perspective, the best looking chart out of all the marijuana stocks in Canada or the United States. So this is a perfect example of the patterns that I like to look for. I am a swing trader. I rarely day trade. I don't have a problem with buying a stock and selling it in the same day, but that's not what I would like to do. Obviously, I've made most of my money in the last 20 years by holding stocks for 3 to 6 months. So with this chart of weed, this is a yearly, weekly chart, and it's a perfect example of the fractal nature of the stock market, which is basically patterns within patterns. And that's what I look for. That's the methodology that I use. So, I mean, this is something that you could print out and put in a picture frame just for future reference. So you've got a huge triangle here going back starting from September, the top in January, and now the consolidation. And you can see the fractal triangles within this larger time frame. And in a bull market, this is what I love about the marijuana stocks, and I've been trading them since 2016, is if it's a true bull market, and I'd say the same thing about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, there's no need, like, I hope that Bitcoin gets above 20,000, but there's no need to rush in, because if it's a true bull market, it'll go above 20 to 30 to 40. Who's to say? But at least in the marijuana stocks, you can say, if this is a true bull market in the marijuana stocks, then the high of $44 will be taken out eventually, just like the high of 1378 and the high of 2172 were all taken out with previous triangles. So I'm looking to have a bullish confirmation on this pattern. What I'm waiting for is a breakout above 3472. I have a buy stop order placed for 3472. And in the meantime, there's really nothing to do but wait and see how this pattern plays out. I know a lot of analysts are pretty negative on the MACD here. It doesn't look great, obviously, but I mean, the pattern is, in my opinion, very, very bullish, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. But I mean, you definitely want to have a buy stop order at 3472 because if this is a true bull market in marijuana stocks, the high of 44 will be taken out just like the prior triangles. So this is a perfect example. I posted it right away on Twitter and StockTwits just as a reference point for future setups in any kind of sector. So in a bull market, you'll see these kind of tight triangle patterns. I talked about this in my last video about sectors that are very psychological in nature. And definitely the marijuana space has captured the imagination of traders and investors across the world. And somebody who, like myself, who has used marijuana, obviously, since I was a teenager, we've been waiting for a sector like this to come along. And I mean, it's definitely lived up to its billing about capturing the imagination of traders and investors everywhere. So that's why you're seeing such clear, crisp patterns, because there's just so much emotion and so much excitement within this sector. So from my personal perspective, I'm glad this sector has finally arrived in Canada and in the US, obviously. And it's something that it's not going away. And it's definitely something to look forward to in the months and years to come. So that's sort of my take on weed right now, just waiting for the triangle to break out above 34.72. And we'll just take a quick look at the precious metals market here. Obviously, there's a chart that I posted last night. Kirkland Lake is definitely probably one of the better setups in the precious metal space. Clean cup and handle. The breakout here above 2110, and then a slight pullback, and then it actually did break above the 2229 new trigger long today. So that's very encouraging for the precious metals stocks. And just finally, quickly, big picture look at the metals. Still waiting for resolution to the fractal cup and handle pattern on gold itself. There's no need to worry if it's a true bull market. It's going to break out above 131.15 in gold itself, the GLD, and then the SLV. It's a beautiful triangle, Elliott wave pattern, possible wave 3 setup here, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. If it's a true bull market, it's definitely going to break out above 1665, and nothing to do in the meantime but just wait. And like I posted last night, I'm keeping all my position sizing in the precious metal stocks very, very small, because you haven't seen confirmation in the physical metals yet, in gold or silver. So the charts look super bullish, but there's no need to rush in. There's no need to worry, as long as your position sizing is very modest. But then obviously, like, if this is a true bull market, the wave 3 will go over wave 1 over 1972 in SLV, and we'll be off to the races. So it's very encouraging, this setup, but it's got to follow through. So on SLV, 1665 is what we're waiting for. And that's about it for today. That's the take on gold and silver. There's a gold stock there in Kirkland Lake. And the last thing I'll say about the Nasdaq, there is a head and shoulders topping pattern here. I'm totally fine with buying the Nasdaq once it breaks above the head here over 7,000. There's no need to buy in. At least the way I do it, I would never buy anywhere in this level around here. You've got to wait and see if how this head and shoulders bearish setup takes place. So there's nothing to do in the meantime but just wait and see how this pattern plays out. But I'll be more than happy to buy Nasdaq all-time highs if we do break above 72.50. So that's all for today, and thank you for watching. And follow and subscribe on YouTube if you want updates. And thanks very much.